Alrighty, and welcome back to the Beatles sing along with Rhodey. Um, sorry, I mean ASR round 7, race number 3. This round being sort of broken up due to some OBS and internet dramas. Do apologise for this, but nothing we can do about it. Unfortunately, um, do have our point standings have been updated once again because of our man down in the pit lane. I'm working hard on the spreadsheet. Scott Nolan down there is updated the points, and we've got Danny Cox, of course, still leading the championship after that win and extending his lead. 1781 plays Termo and Darren Kemp, both on 1,679 points, so very, very tight between those guys. And Braxton Stancliffe as well, just edging his way closer and closer. He's 108 points away on 1571, but he is getting closer. Dane Liccardo with that late drama there with the puncture not helping his chances there. He's only 3 points in front of Cheese now. So, still the top 6, probably the only realistic shots of the championship. Peter Thrower having a bit of a nightmare in this one with a 16th place and a 15th place there. And Matt Cecil as well, that second race not helping his chances. But Taipan, he's been able to move within 30 points of Matt Cecil with his 9th place and very handy 6th place there in race number 2. And Freakish there down in 16th in that last race. Sorry, Lockheed Lock, I should... No, that is Freakish, my bad. So Freakish on 13.30. Lockheed Lock on 12.34. Both those guys having a bit of a nightmare. Higginson, he was robbed right in front of me. On 11.58, so he's getting closer and closer towards 12th and 11th place with his night so far, but it could have been better. But just some key errors which always seem to throw his nights out. But he still picked up a solid 8th place finish there, but it could have been a bit better. Steve Warwick home in the last race in 13th place. Funnily enough, finds himself in 13th in the standings, just ahead of Lockheed Burke. So Burke coming on strong here, and probably not going to get ahead of Steve Warwick before the night is out, but he's going to find himself very close to Steve Warwick, Nathan Higginson and Lockheed Lock by the time tonight is done, provided race 3 goes as well as he hopes. And of course we do have Justin Cecil there on 1,010 points, ways ahead of Josh Watson and Brian Walsh, and then it's those guys are a fair way back after that one. So, Rhodey, we've had 2 races, with the second race, of course, being reverse top 10. How do you see race 3 going, if you can have any predictions? With the way tonight's going, I don't really think you can have any predictions.
I think I have predictions. I'm going to ruin people's races, so I'm not going to make any.
Well,
But no, it's the way I see it going. If anybody can stay out front in that first lap and can hold their own, as long as the top 3, top 4, top 5 battle the way that they have been the last 2 races, they're in a good shot of, I reckon, of holding the position that they find themselves in. Because the way those guys are racing, they have to have eyes on both the windscreen and their rearview mirror. So if you can just hold your own against one of the drivers, you may just keep all 3, 4, even 5 of them behind you because they're just too busy racing each other.
Yeah, so if you do find yourself starting at the front, so looking at you, Zach Brown, Ben Hall, Nathan Higginson, and even Termo or Taipan, you can find yourself leading after the first lap or 2. You can just keep it clean. With the way race 2 went, or with the way race 1 went, you're going to have Burke, Coxie, and Braxton Stancliffe all duking it out for the World Championship, and they're going to cost each other time. So you could find yourself in a position where, you don't have to defend as hard as what you normally would if you're battling those guys in clear air. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I don't have any predictions for this one because I honestly don't know how it's going to go. I could see, if the planets and solar system and galaxy all just align, Higginson could get a victory. But at the same time, you could see Termo get it done. He's shown some alright pace, but race 2 didn't go to plan. But he's starting in a decent position and ahead of the fast guys. And for whatever reason, the way the grid is set out, once again, we've got a gap on the grid.
I was
So,
I was about to mention that. I was flicking through the list to see what was happened, but we've got an odd spot again. I've got no idea why. I don't know. It's the game is doing things. Anywho, the grid for the third race, starting from pole, is Zach Brown, McLaren boss. Not actually in the Walking Joindery United number 25. This is, I think, his first pole position start, and a good turn of form for him tonight, based on how he's been performing so far this season. Second will be Ben Hall, last race as podium sitter. Hopefully a much better start for him in this race. He had a good initial start, but second gear was back with a vengeance, and it nearly looped his car. Third will be Nathan Higginson. He needs to protect his wallet so he doesn't get robbed again, with Termo in fourth position. Been a good strong night from Termo. Fifth is Taipan. He's actually been doing pretty well as well. Finished, I think, just inside the top 10 in the last race, and made his way forward in the second race, with Cheese in sixth. Darren Kemp starting from seventh, with Lockheed Burke in eighth. Just behind him is Braxton Stancliffe, with the born again Daniel Cox, very much behaving like a younger man tonight with some of his driving, but bad. Just a lot of energy in that Kimkin car. 11th will be Dan Liccardo. Was running so well until the tyre went out, so hopefully the tyre management team is a little better in this race, with Justin Cecil in 12th. Steve Warwick will be starting from 13th, with Josh Watson definitely not last, starting from 14th. 15th is Pete Thrower, with Freakish in 16th in the drive from the Nissan. 17th is Lachlan Lock in the second of the Shell Falcons, with Matt Cecil in 18th. I suspect, I don't know, a tyre issue for him, I'm guessing, or a pit stop him in that second race, putting him this far back. Lefty Luke Emerton starting from 19th after starting out of, I believe it was third in the second race. So very topsy-turvy night for him at the moment, with Glenn Miles starting from 20th. Melody Smith up in 21st, with Phil Whiteman in 22nd, and with Brian Walsh starting from 23rd. That is your 23 plus 1 car grid for the imaginary car taking up the third grid spot.
yeah, so thankfully with Super 2 coming first between each round, we're able to sort out any issues for the main series. So that'll be something that we'll be able to modify during the week. And with PJ, I think you keep thinking of Peter Jackson, the cigarettes, and that's why you keep saying Peter. But anyway, we're about to get going here for race number 3. And jump start again for Dane Liccardo. And Ben Hall's got a decent start. Lockheed Burke having a look. Higginson looking to go straight into the lead again. Side by side with Hall into turn 1. He has the inside. He's just got to pull it up now for turn 2. We've got through turn 2 cleanly in the first 2 races. What will we see here in race number 3? We'll see Higginson in the lead, that's for sure. Taipan's going to make it 3 wide around the outside. Liccardo was on the curbing, well on the inside, and it's been spun around, and we've got cars everywhere. Glenn Miles is doing doughies, and we've got Matt Cecil around as well. So there we go. There's 2 races worth of incidents in one right there. But we'll just have a look and see what's happened here. So Liccardo got a little bit of a nudge from Braxton to the inside there, and he's then spun around on the curb, and then got cars everywhere, and I think people avoiding, people on the grass, and well, it's just a massive mess down there. Won't be major damage, but that'll be well, you can write this one off for Dane Liccardo jumping the start again. So he's ruined his night all on his own tonight. But Higginson in the lead. Burke's got his way ahead of Ben Hall, and he's also crucially got himself ahead of Braxton Stancliffe and Coxey, who you would have to say would be his main competition roadie. Yeah,
so he's in a good position right now within their little race, because he has got Ben Hall, who got a big lean on from Braxton there through the last corner. He's got Ben Hall, who's a bit of a cushion. That said, and a bit of time. Braxton seeming to wanting to do something about that pretty soon, though. He was, as I said, all over the back of Ben Hall through the last corner, and Ben's not necessarily used to racing some of these guys, so he's not going to be necessarily trying too hard. He's not going to put himself out of position and try and hold the guys off too much. So Braxton has got through a bit of contact there from Ben Hall, which I suspect is just for a bit of repayment for the last corner. But that's Braxton Sandcliffe through, and he's now going to try and catch up at the back of Lockheed Burke. And I think it's Cheese, the next of the cars trying to get through Ben Hall.
Yeah, Cheese and Kemp duking it out to the death there by the looks of it through turn 1 and 2 there. And Hall was had a decent run coming out of turn 1. Braxton taking the shallower line, just struggled a little bit on the exit as all the cars there a little bit wide. And Cheese having a look up the inside. Kemp's going to try and follow through. A little bit of contact. Kemp might be the big beneficiary there. He might get 2 for 1 here. With Turmo watching on behind him. The two Nissans side by side. They get through there and Cheese just holds on around the outside. Has the defense, but he's been rear-ended and then has taken out Braxton Stankiff. That is a gift and a handbasket. They've just given, well, a massive, massive free kick. That is a, well, that's not a hamper. They've given them a brand new car for Christmas right there. Lockheed Burke, Nathan Higginson, they've got a nice 3-second gap to Turmo. He's another big beneficiary out of that, and so is Taipan as well. So Kemp now as well down to 7th. And where has Braxton's down into 15th. He's going to be a man to watch though. I would expect him to work his way through the field and at least get a decent recovery drive and finishing position out of all this.
Yeah, it'll recover from this point. I do expect a top 10 based on the pace he's been pulling out. He's not going to have the pace and the time management to get back to where he was, though. And that's a shame because he's been performing very well all night. So it just seems to be something that's happened to some of the younger drivers.
Taipan's gone around. He's lost it coming out of turn 3, and I don't know if there was any net code in that. It didn't look like there was contact, but he just lost the rear end, so we're right on board. And look back. No contact. He's lost it. I think the shift point there, and around he's gone. And well, he had a decent night going, and that spin's going to cost him some points. And we've had Emerton start down the field. He's up 9 spots now to P11 there, so he's had a good, decent start as well. But at the front, we've got Higginson leading Burke, with Turmo, who was 3 seconds behind, only 2.2 now. So the race is on, and that opens things wide open.
Yeah, Turmo's making up some big gains on Higginson. Obviously, Turmo in the same ballpark as Berkey so far tonight, but maybe a little bit more conservative at points of the race just to manage those tyres. He's now had 2 races under his belt of that tyre management to know just how far he can push. And Turmo, he is, and there he goes with his fastest lap. So he's getting out of the blocks nice and early. So he's pretty confident now on how far he can push his tyres and when he can push them. So he's going to start making some moves on these two. That said, Berkey has still got some good pace, not as quick as Turmo, but he's now right on the back of Pigo.
We've got Cox and Cheese battling it out as well, and Cox forcing Cheese into a mistake there as Cheese outbroke himself. They can go side by side through the back end of 2 and 3, but Cheese able to hold on. It's going to buy Kemp a bit of a ticket to have a go at Cox. Obviously, those two championship combatants.
He's driven around the outside.
He simply has. He's gone straight around the outside there. So
brilliant move.
See if the stewards have a look at that. They may penalise him for being outside track limits, but you don't get a track cut for that. So I don't know how we're going to penalise it, if it does get penalised. But that's something for the stewards to decide. But anyway, the front 3 now all joined together, with Turmo in the first sector, a good half a second faster than the cars in front. And again, purple in sector 2. So Turmo is on a tear and having a big go. In fact, he may have even gone faster than what he was able to manage in race 2, where we do have similar track conditions as well. He's got a good run out of the final corner. Of course, Turmo is in the championship hunt, and he needs to get as many cars between himself and Cox as possible. Bit of bump drafting going on between himself and Burke into turn 1. But it then compromises himself for turn 2 because he's not quite close enough because he got on the brakes nice and early to not run into the back of Berkey. So perhaps just biding his time for later in the race. You see a lock up there for Higginson into turn 2. And a little bit further back, we still have Cox just in front of Cheese and Kemp. Ben Hall still doing a solid job in 7th. Zach Brown is under massive attack from Lockie Lock and Braxton. Oh, the 2 Red Bulls, both Braxton and Peter Thrower.
Yeah, so Braxton's already, if we said top 10, it took him more of, I think, 2 or 3 laps to get back into the top 10. So Braxton's on the charge. He's got places to be. He's looking for a move. He might get almost 2 of them. Zach Brown, that was well, he got away with that one cleanly was the important bit.
Oh,
But that
and then
was,
and then
yeah.
bit of a barge wide there. He's just biffed Lockheed out of the way. I don't think Lockie would be too pleased with that one.
I think to be fair, Lockie was already wide as it was. Braxton just made him even more wide. So, yeah, that was a little bit cheeky. Just the door was already open. He just put a chock in that door to make sure it stayed open. But yeah, so that puts Braxton already up to 8th, and he's got some good pace on board. Whether the time management's going to make to bite him later in the race, but I think he's now setting his sights on the two Nissans in front.
Well, if he can manage to do, say, similar lap times to Turmo's fastest lap, obviously he'll tear his tyres up. But if he does it, and Higgins stays in the lead, and they're still doing mid to high 31s, he could find himself at the back end of the race in that battle pack for the lead here. So he's not out of it. He's only 9 seconds off the lead. He's going to have to get through the cars in front pretty cleanly, but he's not out of it just yet. I wouldn't say no to his chances just yet, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it all shakes out. Higginson's still in the lead at the moment. 31.7 for him on that last lap, 31.7 for Burke on that last lap, and a 31.7 for Turmo. On that last lap, though, we did have both Daniel Cox and Cheese in the 1 minute 30s. Only 2 drivers in the 1 minute 30s on that last lap. So they are coming, and we're going to have a 5-car train probably in a lap or two's time here, Roddy.
Yeah, so this is it always seems to come back to that 5-car train, although it was more than just the cars in that 5-car train, but it seems to be the number 5 for this round that seems to be that lead train battle. Although we say 5, it does look like it's going to be 6 because there is still both Nissans are still coming at a pretty equal rate. And as we mentioned, Braxton, although he is struggling to break away from Lachlan Lock in the Tim Penske car, but if he's going to swing in on this, it'll make it he's going to get through Ben Hall first, but it would make that then a 7-car train. But no, we're getting it's all coming together again.
Oh, here goes, had a poor run out of the final corner. He got on the gas too early and just understeered wide on the exit, so he's gone defensive into turn 1. It's going to compromise his line, and it'll just slow him up. We've got a car leaving the pits there in the background there, so I don't know who that is, but he goes holding on. Turmo looking to make a move on Burke, but decides to back out of it. But Cox, as you said, breaking away a bit from Cheese. And he's not too far off the back of Turmo now, and that's Glenn Miles that's just come out of the pits, and he's just in front of Kemp, and he's going to have to get out of his way in a moment's time. And it looks like Lockie's pit crew are getting ready. I don't know if that's just scheduled or if he's accidentally bumped it, but now at the halfway mark, and it has been the point where people have been pitting. If I was these guys at this point, I'd just be staying out and just trying to drive at a lap time, because you are not going to get that time back. We've seen it in both the races so far. The races aren't long enough to make that time up. You might as well just try and chance it. We saw Liccardo have his tyre fail in the last lap, but he still managed to get a decent result.
Yeah, and from where some of these guys are pinning in, I'd honestly just keep trucking along out there and just see what happens, because you're guaranteed to be finishing down in the order if you pit. There's no guarantee of that if you go out and try and chance the tyres. So
had Braxton purple in the first sector, and not purple in the middle sector, but travelling on quickly. Same with Emerton. He was actually quite quick in the middle sector, as was Lockheed, who's not too far behind Stancliffe. They're about to catch Ben Hall. Now, does Lock come in? He's coming into the pits. He's thrown his race away. I don't understand it. I know some people just like racing and being on the good tyre for the whole race, but you're going to finish well down the field in this one. But anyway, it's their own choice. But back to the front of the field. And Lockheed Burke, he's got Turmo for company, and Cox is right there as well. So he's joined the train, he's joined the party. Now, I would imagine that Cheese will catch the back of this. Just having a look at the first sector. Actually a little bit slower in the first sector on this lap than the cars in front, but it's the middle sector where they all seem to be bottlenecking just a little bit. But I think the next change of position we're going to see here, Rhodey, is between Braxton and Ben Hall.
Yeah, so we'll come back there, and Braxton, as I've already seen. You say that. I'm not sure if he got squeezed there, if he just came a bit too hot into the corner, but he got big slide on. He's kept the pace, but that will have hurt the tyres, and he's already pushing the tyres. Ben Hall, bit of a sympathy slide there, so that's Ben's left rear as cooked as Braxton's right rear. So Braxton to do all that work again. So probably it will be the next pass we see, but it's been delayed by about half a lap.
Yeah, so probably would have gone for a move at the hairpin if you hadn't mucked it up, but now he's probably going to try it here into turn 1 if he's able to get the run. You see Higginson and Burke doing their personal best on that last lap, so the track is starting to rubber up, as well as the fuel load starting to come off, as Braxton's going to try and go around the outside of turn 1, and he's going to do it. So Hall very early on the brakes, and Hall just holding on for dear life as he kicks the curb on the inside there. But Braxton around the outside, 9 seconds off the lead, so he hasn't really lost time since we last mentioned it, but I don't think, unless these guys out in front do start massively holding each other up, I don't think he's going to catch them, but certainly good recovery so far. He may be able to get onto the back of Kemp if he puts it all together, but at the moment, first, second, third, and fourth, you can throw a blanket over him, and Cheese is there to pick up the pieces if it all falls apart for those guys in front.
Yeah, so it's similar position to last race before Higo threw it away. It is now Higo's race to lose. He had an advantage.
You've thrown him under the bus there.
I have. You know, it's like a couple of laps ago he had a good reprieve because the cars behind were a bit further back, and Tomo was right off the back of Berkey, and that would have been Berkey's priority, was what Tomo was doing versus what Higo is up to. But now they've all sort of tuned their radios to the same frequency, and they're all realizing no, there's a potentially vulnerable red and white number 34 here that we can take first, and then we can fight amongst ourselves. You know, I suppose like big cats or apex predators, or like I suppose just fighting for dominance, but they'll take on the.
Here we go. Turmo having a look on Burke, and Burke is going to try and hold on around the outside. And he's going to do it. He's going to hold on around the outside. So good racing between those guys. Cox now going to try and find a way through by Turmo. Not quite close enough though. So good racing here. Nice respectful racing. But
this is that sort of racing that Higo's going to want to see, because the more they battle amongst the three of them, the less time they're going to have to mount a serious attack to the back.
Here we go, Cox. Cox on the inside of Turmo. They're going to go side by side as Lockheed Lock on a new set of tyres. That's the fastest lap of the races. No extra points for fastest lap here, fellas. So pitting for tyres as well. You've ruined your race, but I guess you can set a fast lap, I guess. But the battle here for the lead, and indeed for all the podium positions here, very, very intriguing. And Braxton 7.7 off the lead now. So he's not going to catch these guys, but he's going to have a crack doing it. Now, what can Burke do? Higginson's tidied up his final corner. It was a place he was struggling with earlier on in the race, but he's had 2 good exits now. And Burke's not going to be able to do anything about it into turn 1. Now, it's all about getting through turn 1 for Higginson and getting a good exit. He's very, very ginger off that turn 1 there. He's not leaning on the tyres all that much by the look of it. But Higginson leads. Burke second, Turmo in third, followed by Cox, Cheese, Kemp and Stancliffe. So as a reference, on that last lap, Braxton Stancliffe a 1 minute 30.1. Now race leader a 1 minute 30.7. So 1.6 seconds. Not going to be close enough to really challenge even Cheese, but I reckon we'll see him on the back of Kemp by the end of this race, as Higginson a bit defensive there to the left-hander. And now coming up to the hairpin, he's wide, he's going to be holding on for dear life here. And this could be the door that Turmo needs to sort of sneak up the inside as Burke tries to go around the outside here. And Turmo gets the job done. So Turmo now into second place, but Higginson, hopefully it's a bit of a wake-up call. He's going to have to drive it a little bit straighter and not lean on that front right as much. But it is tense stuff at the front. 2 laps to go. we don't know who's going to finish where on the podium, and there's still other positions up for grabs as well.
Yeah, so Tomo there, perhaps unwittingly giving Higo the big break he needed. Otherwise, that would have been, well, not race done, but it would have been win done for Higo. He is by no means safe. Tomo's now got some good pace. So Tomo is really confident with that tyre set. I was talking about, near master of managing those tyre strategy and the tyre wear. So he's confident now that he can push at a high rate of pace towards the end of this race. Whereas Higginson, as you can tell, he's obviously nursing his tyres to the end. He's having to juggle a lot here, and he's doing a good job holding off of these faster cars.
Turmo having a look, there's compromised him a bit, and Burke now, who had the optimum line, is going to be able to take, or going to try and take second place. A little bit of a lock-up. Turmo has to open the steering, and while he didn't lose position, it did cost him a little bit of time. This is where Higginson made a mistake last time out, but this time much better through the downhill left-hander. But, he's made a lock up into the hairpin, but it should actually give him a decent exit coming out of the hairpin. So 1 and a bit laps to go. Who will take first? Who will take second or third or fourth in this one? A little bit of a hurry up there from Higginson by Turmo to, get a move on here. I don't want to lose out to Burke here. Also got lap traffic further down the road. Glenn Miles, Brian Walsh, and PJ, I believe, as the leaders now start their final lap.
Yeah, so he's got, I wish the track didn't change the kilometres, but he's got not very many Ks left, Higginson, to hold on to this one.
He's clipped the grass. He's clipped the grass, and he's going to lose out to Turmo here, is he? Or is he going to try and hold on around the outside? He's going to try it. Turmo locks up and runs wide. Burke up the inside of turn 2. I don't know how Higo survived that one, but he's got away with it for now. And Turmo, who was looked more of a threat than what Burke has dropped behind Burke. And now, well, there's 1 sector down, 2 to go for Nathan Higginson.
Yeah, so Tomo obviously a bit hard there. Berkey's now to run to go a little wide, but he's managed to get back across. Tomo's immediately going back in to have a bite for Burke, and Burke's got to figure out where he wants to pay attention to. Does he want to try and get past Higo? Does he want to hold off Tomo? Sitting in the back there is Coxie, and Coxie hasn't been too close to swing into all this, but Cheese is now buying in at the back end of this as well. A bit too late for him. And with Kempy there in the background as well, but Berkey defensive from Tomo there.
It's buying Higginson time here. Brian Walsh getting out of the way. And we've also got Cheese and Kemp also buying in. Big slide from Kemp on the way, but 2 corners to go from Higginson. Can he pull it up for this corner here? He can. Now it's all about not running out of front right tyre and getting the traction. As Turmo has a look that will compromise Burke just a little bit at the final corner. But once again, we're going to have a drag to the line. A bit of a slide for Turmo. It's going to be very, very close between second and third. But Nathan Higginson will cross the line and take his first victory in Super 2. Burke will hold on to second with Turmo home in third and Cox home in fourth place. The top 4... in fact, the top 5 covered by less than a second. And Darren Kemp only 2 seconds back in the end. Braxton Stancliffe actually lost a bit of time in the last couple laps there. So I'm guessing his tyres ran out. But what a finish. Higginson doing the impossible and holding on for the entire race there after another fantastic start. He's finally listened to us, Rody. He's driven the car nice and straight. And he's won a race.
Yeah, it's... And that applause was not just for Higo, but again, just for that top 5, and I suppose just the top 10. It was some really good racing there to round out the top 10. Higo, Berkey, Turmo, your top 3. Coxie got up to 4th. Cheese in 5th. Kempy in 6th. Braxton Stancliffe up to 7th with that recovery. Then Ben Hall stayed with it well after starting from 2nd to finish in 8th. Zach Brown, after starting on pole, finishes 9th, and Luke Emerton recovers to 10th. And I still really wish we could have seen this same drive from him in this third race, in the first race, and the second race. But hopefully he's back again for Adelaide in a few weeks' time, and we can see some more pace from him. 11th to Pete Thrower, good drive for him, up a few spots in that third race. Taipan losing a few spots, unfortunately for him, back into 12th. Freakish into 13th, Justin Cecil into 14th, Josh Watson, not last, started 15th, finished 15th. Probably one of the better weekends for him. Dane Liccardo, not his finest moment in that third race, dropped back to 16th. Lockie Lock up to 17th, with Steve Warwick unfortunately dropping a few spots back to 18th. Matt Cecil starting from 19th and finishing 19th, and I'm guessing with a pit stop somewhere in there with the way he manages his tyres. PJ up into a top 20, which is pretty good on debut for Phil. And rounding out the rest of the field, Brian Walsh 21st, Melody Smith in 22nd, and Glenn Miles in 23rd.
Well, I think the racing here tonight has been, pretty exemplary, I'd have to say, from all the drivers out there. Just from a racing and admin point of view, it's been everybody's been giving each other space, and when there has been contact, it's been generally through just mistakes. It's not been through people trying to do idiotic moves. But the thing that astounds me most is this is a circuit that generally you have massive field spread. We did see some field spread though, but we had 3 races tonight that all literally came down to pretty much photo finishes, or the top 2. And in races 2 and 3, you had the top 3 and even top 5 all finishing within a second of each other. So, absolutely astounding to see that at SMP. You don't normally see that kind of close racing between such a large number of cars. But fantastic night of racing, Rudy, and hopefully we see more of that at Adelaide.
Yeah, no, I've just got one of those smiles that you can't do a damn thing about, and no, that was some really good racing. And yeah, especially after and part of it is potentially track induced, but just after what we went through for Calder, both with Super 2 and the main game as well, to come around and have this. Yeah, we had some funny moments there with probably one of the biggest jump starts we've ever seen, and just some really weird grid stuff when we manually set up some pit boxes to the grid boxes. But no, that was some really good racing. And look, if this is anything to go by for supercars in a week's time, I'm going to have just as much fun commentating that as well.
Yeah, that's if you're not racing, because Hans is not going to be there, so he might just force you to, just jump,
no,
in the car for that one, mate. But,
I would be offering Higgins in the seat if he didn't already have a Autodesk car, but yeah, based on performances, I think a lot of drivers are eligible for some wildcard appearances next week time, and if anyone wants to drive in the number 010 Brody Schroeder's racing car, yeah, you know where to find me.
All right, well, originally said I wasn't really going to do interviews, but they've all jumped in here. Got a number of people in here because had a good night of racing. We've had a mixed field of people jumping on the podium. So, Rody, tonight, hope you got broad shoulders and broad back, because you're going to do all these interviews here, mate. So, good luck and have fun.
Fucking wonderful. Alrighty. Let's start this off then. Random start. We're going to start off with the current championship points leader, Daniel Cox. So, Coxie, after last round, where just I suppose other luck came in your way, and you managed to pick up the points lead. What was the approach coming into tonight's racing?
How's it going, guys? Basically just get another good round. Don't crash, don't spin, because first couple of rounds, or first 3 or 4 rounds, I can't remember, but I'd always spin at least one race, and I'd get an advantage and I'd lose it. I'd get an advantage and I'd lose it. So I'd just finish the races. And that was a very fun night up the front. I hope everyone. There's a bit of carnage in the third race, but that's what you get when you go 4 wide into turn 2. That's not going to happen. But let's have a look. I'm trying to remember my results. So first race I got. What did I get?
So your results were your first
third.
Race, you finished third.
Yes, I was. That's yeah. Right. I was having a great battle with Braxton, and I'm going right. I need to get past him. I can get past him. I got past him, and we hit lap traffic, and I accidentally bumped my pit thing, turned off my pit thing, and then I had to hit a brake marker. I went, oh, idiot! So I got distracted, and he got past me, and then I noticed, I think 3 laps to go, I had, what was it? 1.89% left. So I had 18%. I went, there's no way if I keep this up, I'm finishing this race. So I think Lockheed Burke got past me. I went, just concede, because you need to finish. I think I was, good. I don't know how many seconds ahead. In the end, I think it was about 8 or 9 seconds. And I I think Termo was behind me and went, just breathe, just finish the race. I think I did the slowest lap of everyone in the last lap. I think I ended with no tires. Race 2, I went, right, I can win this. I can win these races. So I had to really fight past Braxton this time. I went, if he's going to squeeze me, I'm going to try it. If I get past him, I can squeeze him back a little back. gave him race room, but once I got past and there was enough room to take it, I did. And that was a good race, and yeah, I that's the thing. And so I got in good lead, conserve tires, and I saw them battling behind me. I went right, they let them battle. I conserve, and then I wasn't really, I was just watching, the tire deg, and then I realized they're right up behind my bum, and then started pushing again, and I over pushed and basically got to line with point. I had basically like the 0.3%. So like my tire topped just about in the second after the race finished. So I was happy with that. And the last race, which was great, very entertaining from my point of view, it was just like, it was a bit of chaos at the first turn, so I just backed off. I could see this is going to be a crash here, and sure enough, I think it was Dane that got. I think he got squeezed up into the front, which is going to happen if there's 3 cars to his right, and so he spun. And luckily, I was just slowed down enough to avoid it. I might have forced someone wide because I just, I had to avoid the car. But I think I don't know what. I have to watch the replay. I don't know what exactly happened, but all I know is that I was going to T-bone straight into him if I didn't take evasive action. So, and then I was just catching. All right, preserve tires, but I was preserving as they're battling. And I got to say, Nathan Higgins did a fantastic job this race because he had non-stop pressure for the entire race. And I'm thinking he's going to pop his tires. Like you can't hold off, Lockheed and Burke and Turmo for 13 laps. And I was catching, and I went right. I had my chance to get past Turmo, and I just couldn't do it. And I started cooking my tires. Went not breathe, and then I started losing Deg, and he held him, so good on him. I'm probably talking way too much. I just had a really fun night.
That's a good sign of racing where you basically do my interviewing all for me. I have to ask you one question. You provide everything for me, so that makes my life easier as well.
Good. Anyway, you should probably get on to everyone else.
I will. No, great work today, Coxie.
And just thanks again for the streaming. I heard there were stream issues, but I don't care if it's not live, as long as you can put it on day later or 2 days later, as long as you get to see the whole thing. That's fine. So, live is not important. The stream is in getting uploaded afterwards if there's internet issues, which is probably what's happening because everyone's stuck at home. So that's not a worry. So thanks for putting this up again. We do really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much. I had a fantastic night tonight. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Coxie. And we will see you in a few weeks' time at Adelaide.
You certainly will.
Alrighty, we're going to swing across now to Turmo. Now the second place sitter in the points, which is probably not a position you thought you'd see yourself at the start of tonight, Turmo. So a fourth, a second, and you got onto the podium in that third race. How did things go from your point of view?
Lost for words.
Well, isn't that a shocker?
Hey, leave me alone.
So, was your strategy? We saw you were backing off at points in that race. Were you just really wanting to make sure you're confident on those tires, or were you just using the first couple of races as sort of your data runs, so you knew how hard you could push for the third race?
The third race, I just licked the stamp and sent it, but I conserved at the same time. If that makes any sense.
It does, yeah. All right, so so I mean that was a good run. I mean the seventh in the second race probably wasn't quite so ideal, but it was a solid haul of points. And as I said, it's moved you up into second. You are 99 points behind Coxie in first, and you are, I think that is 9 points ahead of Kempy in second. So it's a good spot in the championship, and I suppose it sets you up pretty well for Adelaide. How do you feel around Adelaide?
I should be very quick around there.
All right, good to see humble Turmo is in full effect. And that is still the most words I think we've heard from a Turmo interview in a good while. So it shows you also enjoyed your racing. And good to see you tonight, Turmo. Good haul of points, and we'll catch you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Alrighty, let's go find somebody who has a better grasp of their tongue. We're going to swing across now to Braxton Stancliffe. Pretty good race for you in those first 2 runs, Braxton. Unfortunately, it's come unstuck for you a little bit in that third race, but a brilliant recovery.
Yeah, it's a little bit disheartening, I guess. did get taken out, and I was charging my way through the field. I think I was in third or something, second, third. I'm not even sure. I don't remember. I just remember briefly seeing Cheese out of the side of my driver's side window coming across, and I tried to get on the gas a bit earlier in the corner to get away from him, and it didn't quite go well. I kind of got taken out still. But first race, still buzzing about. It was amazing. Great to take my first race win in Super 2. Good to take a second or third in the second race. Was it second?
That
Yeah.
was a second, yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
you make a good point there.
Just.
We completely missed actually, because it's been a bit on and off your pace across rounds, but you always had some very good pace. So I can recall having just watching the background as you recovered from a rear grid start to finish into the top 10 just in the first race. So I apologize, we didn't actually realize it was your first win, but congratulations.
Still good. I pretty much was chilling in our own, well, not chilling, I was more panicking to be fair. But I was in my own little channel with my dad and had him in my ear for the first race, and he was saying, hold off until your tyres are sweet till about mid-race, and once it got to lap 7, he's like, if you can hold off a little bit longer if you want. I'm like, nah, I'm going hard now, and started to pull away from Coxie, and I think I made a slight mistake, and he caught up to me again, which was, to say a little bit annoying. It got a little bit scary at some points. I thought I was going to throw away my first race win, but I managed to hold on. Unfortunately, Coxie did have tyre issues, I believe. And then ended up with Lockheed Burke on the back of my car, which was also very scary. And then Kempy. No, sorry, Coxie again. Second race. I think we crossed the line. I gave him a bump across the line. It was that close. It was a drag race pretty much. If I'd just got a better run, I maybe could have got them. But yeah, no, it was good racing.
Yeah, no, and a good haul points from a good haul of points for you. That puts you up into fourth, still a little away from Kempy, but a really good solid night, and your first win that's going to give you some confidence going into Adelaide.
Yeah, actually, I'm not too bad at Adelaide, to be fair. I'm pretty sure when Burko first started up the SOTF series, I was almost beating Dad when I first started sim racing, so that was good. And now going into it, I like the track Adelaide. It's a good track. I like it. I've done a lot of the I'm lost for words. Stadium super trucks around there, so I know the track quite well, and now looking forward to it.
Awesome. Then great work tonight, and we will catch you at Adelaide.
Yep, sweet. Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
You too. Alrighty, we'll save the best for last. So we're gonna have a chat to Lockheed Burke. Lockie, for somebody who's only been able to run, maybe half the season so far, you put in some stellar performances when you do make it.
Yeah, my main goal going into Sydney was really just nowhere near the championship, just have some fun, trying to mainly give myself the challenge of how far can I claw back up in the remaining races. Of course, missing the first couple of races due to personal reasons, and then just been busy racing in the real world whenever the Super 2's on. Feels good to finally be back up near the front and on the podium after not being there for a while.
Yeah, so you podiumed in all three races. You were close enough in all three to be challenging for a win, but didn't quite have it in the end. But even then, the guys around you really made you work for it.
Yeah, they did race. I think it was race 1 where I got right up onto the back of Braxton. I was just wishing I had one more lap. I closed in, I think it was like a 2-second gap, and it was so close. But I'm glad, in a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't win it because Braxton got his first win. So yeah.
That's a very wholesome outlook on it. Now, so obviously your calendar is fluctuate, although I believe your state is currently in a lockdown, so it does free you up to race at Adelaide. You think you do all right there if you're able to make it?
I'm just gonna have a big dip, see what happens.
I suppose that's all we can ask. Awesome. Good to see you up on the podium, and good to see you racing again, Berkey, and we'll catch you at Adelaide.
Thank you.
And finally, I couldn't find him. His name has been changed in the Discord, but Nathan Higginson, your first Super 2 win.
Yeah, still hasn't completely set in yet. No, like it was a good race on my part in race 3, but a lot of it was to a lot of thanks have to go to Berkey. Got into the positions we got into, and I said to him, "Look, let's just work together. Let's just keep, nose to tail. So we're just, one big long car, so that anyone in behind has to make pass on 2 cars rather than 1." I just tightened up the roll bars and just sent it.
Very nice. No, it's and yes, I'm guessing like you're nearly in the box seat for a win there in the second race before I suppose Higo struck.
Normal Higo things ended up striking in the second race.
Yeah, but you nearly had a moment in that third race where you ran wide through what was it, turn 7, and you managed to bring it back, and that made you work for it. But as a way to get your first win, that's a pretty good way to do it, holding off the title competition. So congrats, Higo.
Cheers.
So now that you got your first win out of the way, you're planning on adding a few more to the tally before the end of the season?
I would certainly want to, yeah.
Alrighty, that has helped in the team points as well. It's pushed you up to 12th. That battle we're talking about, Lewis and I mentioned earlier, is still pretty tight, that mid-pack battle, but it's now, if you continue to put on seeing some of these performances, you are angling to potentially sneak up into a top 10, which would be all right for the end of the season.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad. I'd definitely love to be in the top 10.
Awesome. Alrighty. Thank you for having a chat to us, Higo, and we will see you at Adelaide. And that is all interviews done, and I'll hand it back to you, Lewis.
All right, thank you, and well done to all our drivers tonight. Much better this round than what it was at Calder Park, that's for sure. Obviously, 2 new winners. I think I can speak for just about anybody that's run a series or even just watches motorsport in general. Whenever you get a new victor, first time winners, it's always great to see, and to have 2 tonight, fantastic, and especially with the racing that we had. So Adelaide, going to be very, very interesting. As we all know, it can be a bit of a wreckfest in real life. Hopefully it's nice and clean. We see some more running, clean running like we have tonight. But with that, I might actually just bring up the calendar. So as you can see here, slightly different. Adelaide was meant to be round 1, but we will be running the catch-up round of Adelaide for Super 2 on the 20th of August, so just a couple weeks away. And should be an interesting one. And then, of course, the final 2 rounds of the championship. Bit of a break between them because we do have the ASR Enduro Cup, which will be kicking off in September. So everybody will be focusing on that. So that's why there's a bit of a break there. The final 2 rounds will be Pukekohe Park Raceway, which was initially going to be just a simple edit with our modifications, but the way the track was mapped, I've had to go through and I'm doing every fucking texture. So bit of work going to that one. Most people won't really notice it all that much, but I had to do it on my end. So that should be a good round. We did have our biggest initial turnout for a Super 2 round last year. That was just after COVID hit. So it will be interesting to see if we can get another massive 24, 25 car grid for such a small circuit. Should be some good racing around there as well. Then, of course, the championship decider on the 26th of November. And with the way this season's been going, who knows how that is going to play out. But again, street circuit, the final round, they do throw up some interesting results. So should be very, very interesting. Just trying to find, we've got some images. Yes, here we go. Aussie racing cars, of course, have just kicked off. The first night being, of course, on the 3rd on Tuesday. And in 2 weeks' time, of course, we do have the second night of racing. It is a random draw, as you can see there. So we do have a pool of, I think, Roadie 20 circuits. There
is 20 circuits. We've turned off. We've crossed off our first one. That was Ibarra Reverse. That was our race on Tuesday night. That was some good fun. The shenanigans you have with a pit lane that exits in the wrong way onto the racing track is all part of the fun. But No, so that's out of the selection. I believe it's the way that I've run the list is Virginia International Raceway South is now one of the available layouts for the next draw. But 8 tracks in all, and I'm not going to reveal which ones because that would ruin the mystery. But no, it's proved to be a really good, fun series so far for the first round. A couple of squabbles here and there on track, but overall pretty good, and it's planned out like we wanted it to. In that, with no one able to really effectively practice, it really brings everyone back. The weight penalties are also the sort of the weight ballasting is also evening things out, just like we had in the minis, and it's some really good fun racing.
Yeah, so don't know how many we had. I wasn't there, but we do have pretty much the entire field booked out. There is a couple wild cards available for that. Of course, we do have, if I can find the image for it, I don't know if I've actually got it installed here. I've actually got the track map there that I didn't show off, even though we did have the time to show it. So I'm just flicking through some screens here, hoping to find something. I might have to actually bring it up myself, so just bear with me here. But do have a number of events going on at the moment. Have I got the Super Series one? Yes, I do. And of course, we do have the Super Series, which is about to kick off next week. Please submit your liveries ASAP if you haven't got them already. Rhodey, I think you've got a bit more information as well. But that'll be the series that I think Rossi is doing a bit of work with. So please, if you haven't got your livery done for that, please do it as soon as possible, because that's kicking off on the 10th from Malala, which we haven't raced since TCR back in the day. So that'll be an interesting one. And of course, Wakefield Park. That's never been run in any AMSL/ASR series. So it was Lime Rock Park, Winton, Lakeside, Oran Park, Manfield, and a Long Beach 1998 layout rounding out the season. That'll be, well, from what I've done or driven in those cars, just when I've mucked around or I've tested the Super Series mod, not too much between them outside of horsepower, Rhodey, but those cars, very easy to drive, very fun to drive, and I'm sure they're going to throw up against some more fantastic racing.
Yeah, the one bit of variety we're going to see, and it's something like much the same, I suppose, as we saw when we were running stuff like TCR and it being our one front wheel drive series, is they're all wheel drive. So they've got the benefits of both cars in that the power delivery is very easy to work with, but you push too hard in the corner and they do tend to understeer like a front wheel drive. But no, they're a different sort of beast, and no, I think they'll produce some really good racing. We're interested to see how some of the early tracks go. Malala does give you a bit of racing room, but it is fairly tight. And then Wakefield Park, probably one of the shortest, aside of Lime Rock, one of the shortest tracks on the calendar. And it's a really tight little track in New South Wales. I know a couple of guys have raced there in real life. I know Nether's done some laps up there, but a real tight little boring of a track. So that, especially with the multi-class aspect, that'll be a really good race. And I'm really keen to see how that season works out. In terms of liveries, as soon as possible. And I think Rossi set the date of tonight. But if you're running a little late, as long as you get it to him by the morning, you should be in pretty good states.
Yeah, so if not, he has got it all set up. So he will have a car there, but it'll just have a blank livery on it with your name and number on the windows. But if you can, please get that in as soon as possible. And of course, we do have the ASR Enduro Cup for 2021 with 3 events instead of it just being a Bathurst 500. This is separate from our Supercars Championship, where we will have Sandown, which is being revamped, so it will be more accurate to real life, with turn 1 runoff being as it is in real life, where with the additional tarmac and concrete on the outside. Turn 6 has been reprofiled, as well as the outside tarmac and runoff being extended or turned into tarmac, and being the walls being extended out. There's also a couple little Easter eggs in there, so if people have a look around the track when it is released, they'll find some things that they'll probably have a little bit of a chuckle to themselves, as well as the pits also being redone for all the team boxes and everything like that, so it will look nice and snazzy. Gold Coast, that'll be a very interesting one, Rhodey. 200km/h races around Gold Coast. Expect some carnage around there and some safety cars, but it could throw out an interesting result. One thing I forgot to mention about Sandown, of course, is the race for the grid. We've not run that format before, but for anybody who's watched Supercars Enduros around Sandown before, of course, you do have an initial qualifying system where there'll be a qualifying session which will set the grid for two short races, with one of the races being conducted with the number one or driver A, and then the second race being obviously with the driver B. And then from there, I think, Brody, it's set by by the average finishing position, or is it the finishing position of the second race? I can't remember
From memory, I think what it is qualifying session sets up the grid for the main driver race. That then progressively sets up the grid for the co-driver race, which then in turn sets up the grid for the 500. Well, in real life, the 500. Although don't quote me on that because I'm just trying to recall memory from having watched the race. It's a different system, but it is a quite effective one, and it does reward consistency across your driver pairings, which is interesting because there are some driver pairings already that have formed up that are maybe not necessarily one fast driver and one slow driver, but a couple of drivers that are on similar pace that have tapped on each other's doors and decided to team up. So we're interested to see how that one rolls out. And then as you mentioned, Gold Coast, that's going to be fun. We've always had a bit of fun at Gold Coast the last couple of years, and I suppose endurance format might actually help it. Last year was a sprint, and those that were there last year sort of know how that one turned out. But it being endurance format means that we're going to see probably a bit more measured driving, which is a good thing around a circuit as tight and twisty and dangerous as Gold Coast, and then on to Bathurst.
And of course, that Gold Coast that we are using, it's not the same version that we've used. We are using the modern layout that we used in the Boxer Cup. So those that race in the Boxer Cup with AMS Oz over the summer and last year, that's the version we'll be using. So some big curbs there and some tyre bundles you don't want to hit, but I reckon it's going to be a fantastic event. And then of course the big one, or the little big one, it's not a full 1,000, but 500 kilometres around Mount Panorama is going to be interesting. There's going to be some drivers out there for redemption, that is for sure, with a number of drivers blowing their engines with a few laps to go, or they were in good positions when they had their engines fail, or and we've also got new driver pairings that will shake up the apple cart just a little bit. So that's going to be a very, very intriguing event and a very intriguing series where we've also got some prize packs up for grabs for those guys that do finish in the top three, I think, in the series, but don't quote me on that one. So can't wait for that one. From an admin point of view, if people could please update their registrations to include their team names and finalise driver lineups as soon as possible, that would be fantastic. But if you don't have the second driver just yet, of course, there is threads where you can post asking, if anybody would like to team up for all the other free drivers. But if you can sort out your team names, that would go a long way with sort of, at least from my own sake, in setting up the mod and getting it all sorted as quickly as possible. But Rody, that'll just about do it. And thanks for jumping in the commentary box once again.
That's all right. No, it's really good fun, and after the week we both had as Victorians, we really needed this race to go well, and thankfully it has. So I'm feeling a little bit more energetic now coming into the weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I should have had that coffee now that obviously races how 2 and 3 went, because I'm going to be buzzing for a while now. But once again, thanks Rody, and thanks everyone for tonight and putting on a good show and for some really good racing. See you in a couple weeks' time from Adelaide. Take it easy.